Good evening, good people. How are we? I hope we're good. Just position this and hopefully you can see me and hear me perfectly well. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good people. It is another wonderful day for us to have a wonderful conversation on Speak with Dilys. Thank you for being here, Curly Bailey. Lovely to have you on here, and Chris Everts as well. And if you are joining for the first time, I would just like to welcome you, and I shall be, now let me turn this sound off because it will irritate you as it is me. I shall let you know who is your hostess for this evening. I'm Doreen, thank you for being on here. And Zoe, how are you? My twin. Anita, how are you doing? Ifwa, thank you so much for being on here. And Shirley as well. Yeah, Missy, big sis, lovely to have you on here. Nia, thank you all for joining. As you join, would you be so kind as to share? You know, sharing is caring. And then we can have a greater conversation, because you never know who needs to hear this. Adele Randolph, where have you been? I have not seen you on here for a while. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I really hope that you've been well. So guys, I will tell you very shortly who I am whilst I'm welcoming you for to this evening's show. So for those of you who don't know me, or those of you who are going to catch this on the replay, hi Tendai, how are you doing? My name is Dilys Silla. I am the best-selling author of the book Not This Widow, which is my second publication. My first one is actually called Predator or Prince, How to Find the Man of Your Dreams, Not Your Nightmares. I am an event host. I am also a minister at New Glory Ministries in Romford, but we do have an online meeting every single day at 6 a.m. What else does Dilys Silla do? I am a life coach as well, and I specialize in all the topics that you will see me doing on this show, which is, you know, about relationship, family, just being a better version of yourself, self-healing. That is what I am into. That's my passion, and that is my life's work. And then, of course, I am the host of Speak with Dilys. That happens on a Sunday evening at 8 o'clock every Sunday. So, guys, if you just jumped on here, do share. Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for sharing, Maria. Faye, how are you doing? Shireen, lovely to have you on here. Guys, if you don't share, I will not love you anymore. And you don't want that, because my love is everything. And hi, Michaela. How are you doing? Lovely to have you on here. So, guys, why are we here today? Well, we are going to have a conversation about relationships. And I did say that just going on from hi Evelyn, thank you for sharing. Going on from the conversation from last week concerning Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, we're not going to be talking about that, but I'm just saying that conversation, I could still see that there was a lot of passion, should I say, regarding that situation. And as I was saying to those who were on my personal page just before I jumped on here, what I explained was, very rarely will you see me do a program that is even remotely connected to trending news. I don't do that. I like to speak about things that are relevant to, how can I say, to the people that I'm used to connecting with. Unless, of course, I feel that there is a learning experience that one could, no, I need to put that on, where I feel that there is some learning that could be had from the topic. So with the Will and Jada Pinkett Smith and Chris Rock saga, there were many angles that I felt was necessary for not for just discussion, but for a deeper analysis, because a lot of people from where I was sitting, there were many points that I felt we could learn from that we weren't seeing. So that's why we had the discussion. So looking at that, it kind of led me to say, okay, why don't we look at relationships where there are outside influences on those relationships, and whether that's good, whether that's bad. So that was where I was coming from with this. I'm going to read in a second what we're going to be speaking about after I say hello to some very important people. All of you are very important. But Denise Brewster, thank you so much for being on here, sis. Lovely to have you here. Julie Oludalami, I think somebody's tagging you, so hopefully she will join as well. Yes, guys, please do tag your friends. Vido Wisu, thank you for being on here. Harriet, thank you for jumping back on here as well. Jocelyn, Marvin Bramble, you all right? I couldn't say bye to you earlier on today because I had to rush off. Jocelyn as well, thank you for being on here. Hawa, And thank you very much for those of you who have shared. Evelyn, thank you for being on here as well. God bless you. So guys, I will come back and say hello to you, more of you as you join, because as you join, because of the numbers, I'm not going to see who you are. But if you put something in the comments box, I will see you. Hi, Priscilla. Priscilla also has another show, which is also a talk show. I've appeared on her show like twice. It's fantastic. Her status is open, so you can go and have a look and check out, her show as well. She also makes amazing cakes, so do go and check her out as well. Abla Jifar, thank you, big sis, for being on here. Said relevant show, relevant topics. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, so this is who I am. I think I've told you who I am. And if you don't know, you better tell somebody. So yes, I've told you who I am, and I am going to read out to you what we're going to be speaking about tonight. So, Speak with Dilys, episode 10. I'm going to talk to you about these episodes in a minute. No man is an island, that's for sure, but outside influences in any relationship can be tricky. Because no man is an island, we're going to seek advice and confide in friends and family in relation to our partners. But where does one draw the line? Finding love, staying in love, and keeping love is no mean feat. And we sometimes, in the quest to maintain one or all three, look for validation from others to help us allay whatever fears or insecurities we're feeling. But at what cost? And who are those influences? Do they need to be friends, family, spiritual leaders, or should we seek professional or self-help only because of confidentiality? Three's a Crowd is the 10th episode of Speak with Dilys, where we'll decide if chatting your business is the way to go in maintaining it. See you this Sunday, which is today, right here. So that's what we are going to be speaking about. I think it's an interesting topic because, as I said, following on from what we were discussing last week, there are a lot of people that have many different opinions, and, it's just the way we are as human beings. We always want or seek or need validation from people or a bit of encouragement to make decisions or to take certain steps or to, take things to the next level. Even when guys want to propose to women, they may go to a friend and say, oh, I'm thinking of proposing to Susie. What do you think? Do you think she's marriage material? Do you think she's worth it? So it's quite normal. Everybody does it. But I think that's what we're going to be looking at. Whether is it the right thing to do? Can it hurt you? How can it hurt you? And is it the right thing to do? And how do you go about it? Are there some measures that one can put in place to make sure that if you did decide to step outside, that you could do that? So, because I've got manners and because I'm nice, how are you guys this evening? If you are feeling good, show me some hearts. If you're feeling a bit, then give me some huggy, care, lovey emojis, and we'll sort you out and put you straight so that you are able to be in a nice, comfortable space to sit down and have this riveting conversation. So whilst you're showing me some love, I'm going to be saying hi to Alice, who has just joined, and Michelle Gordon as well, and Akong Nui, thank you for being on here, and Michelle Clark. Charlize Hatchett, thank you, from Texas, wonderful. In fact, I found that I have people that view as far as, oh my gosh, South Africa, from South Africa, people from Zimbabwe, people from Germany. So, oh gosh, everywhere, actually, quite a few countries. Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Canada, got a few people, got Jamaica, Barbados. I got people watching all the way from Barbados, and I got some Asian people that actually aren't here, that actually live in London, but they from Barbados. So I've got, it's really nice, and it's great to see that the message is going far and wide. Peggy, thank you for being on here as well as Anita. So guys, this is what we're going to be talking about this evening. Please do share as you join. That would be really lovely. And I was just saying to myself before I jumped on here that today, hi Jam Jam, how you doing? Today is actually the 49th episode of Speak with Dilys. Now, there's 13 episodes in a series. Now, this is series 4. We have spoken about a lot of stuff. So I want to give you guys a round of applause because some of you are here nearly every single week. So clap for yourselves. So actually what you can do is give me some hearts as a clap offering to yourselves. So clap for yourselves for the support you've given concerning this show, the contributions that you make, which makes this show. Come on, guys, there has to be a lot. You deserve a round of applause. I suggest that you clap for yourself a lot more because you guys have been amazing. So 49 episodes. Next week, Sunday, will be 50 episodes of Speak with Dilys. And each and every one of those episodes and conversations have been absolute fire. So thank you very much for being here every week and, you know, being a part of this great movement that I think is happening. And whilst we're on the topic of Speak with Dilys, before we really jump into this, don't forget that the Speak with Dilys live launch is on the 22nd of April. So that is less than 2 weeks now. So if you haven't got your ticket, I suggest you do get your ticket. It would be lovely to have you. There is a topic of conversation on the night. So basically on the night, we're going to have something nice to drink, something to eat. We're going to have some networking going on. There's going to be live music. I'm not going to tell you anymore. You need to just buy your ticket. But what I will tell you is there will be, so it's like you going to the Oprah Winfrey show, only it's me. So there is going to be a live discussion on the night. There's actually going to be two. One of them has got something to do with love, but I'm not going to tell you everything because it's for those that are going to put their hand in their pocket, support their girl, and come on the night. So, right, that's it done. So, this is what we're speaking about. Three's a Crowd is what the 10th episode of Speak with Dilys is called. And we are talking about whether it is a good idea to have outside influences in your relationship. So this is where we are with this. Now, I was thinking about this, as I said, looking at some of the conversations that had gone on last week. And a lot of people were saying, you know, this woman, i.e. Jada Pinkett Smith, is toxic. He, as in Will Smith, needs some help, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, who are the people that speak into our lives? And who do we speak to when we are going through issues in regards to our relationship? The one thing that I will say, and I think I've mentioned this before, when people are getting married, for example, one of the first things that people say, and they think that this is like really sensible. I think you see, context in life is everything. One of the things that people say is, you know, when you get married, don't involve anybody else in your business. Keep everything between the two of you. Don't. I personally do not believe that. I think that statement has left many a person in bondage. It is a perfect recipe for abuse. It is a perfect recipe for isolation. And it will wreak havoc on your mental health if you need to speak to somebody and you cannot. So I've never been of the opinion that, you know, by virtue of the fact that you're married, don't speak to anybody and it's just the two of you. Because if that woman is being abusive to you or that man is being abusive to that woman, how does that actually work? And I think it's very characteristic of how, you know, I would say again, the black community, we're very much don't let people know your business. It's just not the way we're brought up. And so for that reason, secrets are able to take residence in those kind of environments. And people lose their lives in those kind of environments. And I don't just mean physically. People die in relationships because they're not allowing anybody to get in their business. And I think, you know, I'm not liking my light today at all. I think everything in life is about context. And that statement of don't allow anybody to come in your business, I think needs to be qualified, for want of a better expression. It needs to be qualified for that statement not to be dangerous, for that statement not to be detrimental, and for that statement not to be an enabler for negative, abusive, or dangerous behaviors. So that's where I am on that one, guys. As you are joining, please do share or just type in a couple of friends' names and tag them and see if they would like to join. So with that in mind, how do you see yourself and how do you see your partner? Because before anyone would feel the need to have to go and speak to somebody outside of the relationship, and bearing in mind, I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. It depends on how you see yourself and how you see your relationship and how you see the person with whom you're dating or who you're married to. So that becomes, I believe, the foundation of even the kind of conversations that you will have outside and how you portray yourself, your partner, and your relationship outside. It's first how you see yourself. And being able to be honest about how you see yourself and also how you may have contributed to that situation that you're seeking advice for. Because as human beings, it's very easy, and we naturally do this. And this is why we say there's two sides to every story. His side, her side, and the truth, or his side, whatever. I'm not being boastful, but if I tell you a story, I haven't added anything and I haven't taken anything out. Because my philosophy is very simple. If I am not in the right, or if I know that I have done something that's trashy, then I don't need to come and tell anybody. The longer I keep my mouth shut, the better. There's no point me going to say, oh, guess what? I had an issue with Mariama and da-da-da-da-da. And I know that I was the cause of it. I'd just rather just keep quiet and not say anything. But at the same time, I am very much a person that takes responsibility. So if me and Mariama have an issue and I decided to, I don't know, give Mariama a backhander, I would say, yeah, I did. And I did it because of this, and I'm standing by it. Come and kill me. That's how I am. And I appreciate many people are not like that. But my point here is this. If this is a person with whom you are in a relationship with, you need, if you're going to seek advice from outside, then you need to be honest about the situation. There's no point saying, oh, my wife doesn't want to have sex with me anymore. But what you didn't tell the person that you're saying that to is that you gave your wife an STD because you'd had an affair with some garden tool. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So your honesty in whatever it is that you are going to seek advice for is crucial for you and the person with whom you're dating. Hi, Auntie Jenny. Thank you for being on here. Karma Karoma as well. And Gwen Axe. So I'm going to just read a couple of your comments. Gwen says, we should be able to ask ourselves how our values align with our partners. Very true. But sometimes we do kind of do these things after. Hi, Rosalind. Thank you for being on here as well. Shireen says, when I talk to my friends, I'm not necessarily looking for an opinion, but an ear. However, I think it's, however, one thing I do know is that they will always give unbiased advice. These are the qualities of the friends in my life. Now, we're going to get onto that, which is very important. Gracious Benita says, yeah, be honest with the situation. Yes, I think human beings by nature, we just like to make ourselves look good and we aren't very honest. Jenny says, it's only self-respecting people that admit they are wrong. Well, that is true, actually. That is true. And people who are confident within themselves as well, because insecurity is a beast. And people who are insecure, they are a nightmare. They really are a nightmare when it comes to certain situations. So that is true. There was another comment on here. Yes, so Shireen says, I'm not all about the pretense of perfection. I talk to my close friends about my marriage sometimes and vice versa. I see nothing wrong with it. Very good. Gloria Ajwa says, I've always heard that if you marry, you don't make friends with single people. Oh, girlfriend, did you kind of break into my house and read my notes? Don't go there. Behave, Gloria, because I'm going to get there. Ekia Sarkodie, thank you for being on here. My love, Anna Helena Opoku as well. And Shauna Wright Josephs, thank you so much. I know you were looking forward to this conversation and I know you're watching all the way from Canada, so thank you for being on here. So guys, somebody made a really interesting point, but we're going to get there. So what I'm saying is, thank you for sharing, guys, those of you that have. So what you have to look at is, what is your communication like between yourself and your spouse? It is all well and good seeking advice from people, but I don't think it is fair if you're having those deep and meaningful conversations outside without speaking to your spouse or without speaking to your partner. It's important that you are able to communicate with each other first. And as we speak, I will go on to why that is so important. Because there's a saying in my language, and it's written somewhere down here, but I will just go ahead of myself. And I think I mentioned it last week, and I will translate for you. Emfa ufiasem enkobo busien. Emfa ufiasem enkobo busien. Maybe we should make a song out of it. What it means is, do not take your personal business or your family business and use it to go and get a loan. In other words, don't use your family business as collateral, because you can never, ever pay it back. Once it's out there, that's done. As I said, context is everything. So we're going to be talking about what out there actually means. Guys, I am struggling a little bit because the light is kind of throwing me off. But we're just going to have to manage because we started. So the reason why that is important and who you speak to is so important is because you've got to be confident that the person to whom you're speaking to is going to keep that confidence. And now I guess that's probably why when people are getting married and they're doing the speeches and blah, 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 and then, you know, old Auntie Mabel stands up and says, darlings, I just want to give you a piece of advice. Now that you people are married, keep no business in una yard. Not chat to nobody. Not tell people no business. If you have any problem, talk to your husband. Chat to your wife. Nobody come back in the yard if you come tell me about your wife. Me don't want to hear nothing. If your wife upset you, chat to her. And if your husband upset you, chat to him. Nobody come chat to me because I not give you no advice. Just kiss and make up and don't go back to bed with no anger. It's not good to sustain a marriage. But nobody come knock on me door on a Sunday when me have me curry goat and me dumpling after church and tell me about no business because me no want to hear you. So that is Auntie Mabel. Auntie Mabel, normally she's quite nice actually, but one thing Auntie Mabel does not want to hear is no business. Okay, so right, so now that you people have finished laughing, let's kind of, let's get back with the program. So yeah, so this is Auntie Mabel's advice. And Auntie Mabel, she's right. I give her that. Auntie Mabel she's on the money. But Auntie Mabel is giving this advice is great, but it has to be given in context. Sometimes you have to tell people no business, because if you not tell people no business, your business I gonna kill you. So it's important, okay? So now that we've established that and the fact that you need to be able to communicate with the person to whom you have decided to have a relationship with, how do you communicate? Now, I know communication is a whole show. I mentioned something earlier on about people who are insecure. When you are dealing with a mate who is insecure, it is difficult to communicate with them. Why? Because everything is seen as an attack. So, I appreciate that it is difficult. And that sometimes leads people to go outside to seek that advice. So, how am I going to speak to this person? What am I going to do? Blah, 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 blah. So I get it. And this is why, these shows are just an hour and they're not long enough, because there's so many different elements and branches to them that we can actually, explore. Guys, if you're watching, please do share. So the other thing is moving alongside that is, do you have enough confidence to trust your instincts, judgment, and ability to make decisions? Because how much you are able to trust your judgment, trust your instincts and have the ability to make decisions will determine at what level of advice you seek outside and how often you will need to seek it. How often you will need to seek advice outside and who you will need to seek that advice from. The quality of advice. Now, when Dilys has a problem and she can't solve it, trust me, it's a big problem. That's not a slur on somebody that has a small problem, because as it's your problem, it's relative to you, it's a big problem. But what I'm saying is, depending on how you are able to show up in your own relationship and advise yourself objectively as a mature person, dare I say, in a godly way, that will minimize the amount of advice you will need to seek from outsiders, such that whenever you need to seek that advice, it's always when it's something that is required from an outsider to put their mouth in your business. Do you understand? So, this is where we all have to grow. And this is why being in a relationship, or rather being whole before you enter into a relationship, is so important. When you go in there with certain basic levels of immaturity or unfair expectations or a standard that you're placing on your partner that you yourself have not attained, that's when relationships fall into problems. And that's when it becomes more and more necessary to receive outside contributors. Now, I'm really trying not to do this disjointedly. But when we talk about instincts, unfortunately, it's one of those elements that we don't trust often enough. Because if we're going to keep it real here, many of us go into the relationships or are in some relationships where our instincts told us that, don't go there, this is not right for you. But we went in there anyway. So when we're faced with the natural situations that should come, about from what our instincts were warning us not to get into, it's like we're there in a problem that was so avoidable. So, and I guess what then happens is when you haven't trusted your instinct not to have been in that relationship in the first place, it then becomes more difficult to trust those instincts when those problems arise. So maturity in what we affiliate or who we affiliate ourselves with in terms of relationships or marriage is important. Trust your instinct, listen to your instincts. That voice is there for a reason. Everything is not scientific. Everything can't always be explained. There's times where I just know that something is not right. And for that reason, I will act on that knowledge that I may not necessarily have any evidence, but I will just know that this is not right for me. Now, obviously, if you're a Christian, you will say that you will attribute that to the Holy Spirit. If you're just a regular person, you will attribute that to your sixth sense or to your human spirit. They are all valid. But listen to them, because they are there for a reason. And how many times, let me just give you an example. How many times you say, oh, shoot, I knew I shouldn't have done that, because something had already told you, don't do it. And you went on right ahead and you did it. So now that you're in that relationship, start to trust that instinct, because you're already in it. And I don't know, people have different thresholds of what they can endure and different belief systems in, and how long they would want to be in a relationship for that may not be working. But that then becomes your training ground to trust your instinct. To trust your instinct. It then becomes your training ground to say, okay, right, I knew that this person wasn't necessarily either the one or wasn't ready, but I now have to find a way in how I am going to communicate with that person. So for example, let me use my late husband as an example. So he was somebody that was very, very fiery. And he was not, once he's annoyed, you can't talk to him. So common sense told me that's not the time to communicate with him. I would wait. And in fact, it became a very powerful tool for me to wait until he had run out of steam. And then I would come and say, I need to talk to you. I know he hated it, but I need to talk to you. And you see, when you are able to communicate in a way that is mature and where you are both being heard, again, the need for outside influences or influencers become less and less because you've already sorted it out. So in order for you to be able to trust your instincts, use your judgment and have the ability to make decisions is based on how well you cultivate the nature of communication. And I will teach on I will do a whole show on communication. I'm sure I've done one before, but this is life. We grow. And, you may have watched the show maybe 2 years ago, for example, or a year ago, and we revisit it. Why would it still be fresh? Because we've grown, we've had different experiences, and we'll be able to relate to that subject matter in a different way. I was going to say something, but maybe it's too early. But I'm going to say it anyway, because we've grown. It's like having sex. You don't say, well, I've had it once, so there's no point me having sex again. Every time, so long as you're not with a boring person or you yourself are not dry and boring, you make it fresh, you make it new. And you see, and sometimes the reason why I use these examples is so that you can relate to them and see, okay, yeah, so I get what you mean. So we do have, why are you laughing? Gosh, get your minds out of the gutter. We're all grown people here. This show is for 18-year-olds plus. Do you know what I mean? So, we've all had a bit of as your father. Do you know, let's keep it real with it, be mature and, be honest. And basically, yeah, I think revisiting some of my topics is like having sex, fresh and sweet and nice. And, you will reach that point of, oh, your aha moment, which is your climax. So there you go. So yes, communication. That's what we need to be looking at and how to cultivate it. And I will be doing another show on that specifically. And also, and I think what just dropped in my spirit was also looking at how best we communicate. Because sometimes, or rather how we want people to communicate with us. Because very often we will obviously communicate with people how we communicate naturally. But you need to look at the person who you're communicating with, because the objective is not just to open your mouth and speak. The objective should be that you are understood, and that whatever is wrong, you can start to make ways in putting it right. There is no point me doing this show and saying, oh, just because I want to be a particular way, I don't take any notice of what my viewers want to hear and see. That would be foolishness. I might as well just look in front of the mirror and just start to talk to myself. But if the objective is to be heard and understood and to improve the relationship, you have got to figure out, how does this person want to be communicated with? I will use myself an example. And maybe it would also be an idea. Do you know what? Just listen, guys. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a workshop. I'm going to start doing my workshops again. I used to do a workshop called Rewriting History. And it was basically to help people identify one big win that they wanted to achieve in the year. And it was an excellent program, brilliant workshop that I used to do. And I think I'm going to start to do some Speak with Dilys workshops, because an hour isn't really long enough. And I think it would be helpful for us to be able to spend a day having some of these conversations. Now, obviously, I work as a coach. If you need me to work with you as a coach on some of these topics, please do that. But, what I'm saying is, it's important that we're able to maybe identify what our love languages are, because that will determine how we wish to be communicated with. Now, mine is words of affirmation. Words are very important to me. So I guess it's not surprising that I'm an author. Words are super important to me. So therefore, when you're speaking to me, you must be very articulate and accurate. It's not that I try to be difficult, but I need to, understanding for me is life. I hate to be misunderstood, and I hate people misunderstanding me. So I will labor the point to ensure that we understand each other. Now, I was having a conversation with someone last night, and they said something to me. And from what they said, they had the appropriate, as far as I'm concerned, the appropriate response to the statement that they made. What their intentions were was different from the statement that was made. And I had to say, and they had to, take the pains to qualify what they said. However, in that moment was also maturity, because before, where I would have probably been, I wasn't. I'm like, well, I don't understand. You need to explain to me. They also had come to a place where they could understand how Dilys likes to be communicated with, and they took their time and explained, and then we had what we call understanding. And you see, when that doesn't happen, what you will then do is go outside immediately on the basis of misunderstanding, not disagreement. Misunderstanding, not disagreement. Because in the end, the two of us actually agreed on the point that was being made. We just understood it differently. So the communication element in establishing that in your relationship, in order to minimize the need to go outside for advice or validation or to confirm your judgment on an issue, becomes less and less. Let me read some of your comments, because I know there are quite a few here. Where do we start from? Mariam says, wow, this is so true. I don't want to disturb my neighbours, please. Oh, is that when I was... Do you want me to bring Auntie Mabel back? Hi, Hannah. How are you doing, my dear sister? Lovely to have you on here. And Patience as well. Patience said, that's true. Insecurity is a serious issue. Yeah, it is. And you see, and even that, you've got to be able to manage that insecurity. You've got to be able to manage it. If you know that somebody or your partner is quite insecure, then how you approach an issue has to have a lot of positive language. So for example, you want to say to him, I need you to just, I would like it if you could support me a little bit more in tidying up the kitchen. So could you do, what would really be helpful is if you could stack the washing machine by 8 o'clock, as opposed to, you never help me. Or you need to do more around the house. Be specific in what it is that you want and the standard that you want that person to keep. Because when you do that, you minimize the opportunity for misunderstanding. And I know that's just like a really simple example, but sometimes these things really are that simple. We're just not communicating properly. And so when you're now, shattered and you're now going to complain to your friend, oh, John doesn't do nothing around the house. He's such a lazy so-and-so. And I'm sick and tired of picking up after him. And every time I ask for help, all he does is sit in front of the TV and watch football. He's really getting on my nerves. I don't think I can take it anymore. And then we get to that point of just sheer frustration where we need to look at the person. Listen, darlings, you chose the man, Gentlemen, you chose the lady, That is your intelligent choice right there. You sat there and of all the people, you thought, oh, I think I'll have him. Oh, I think I'll have her. Well, that's on you. So you've got to take some responsibility for it and do some work in maintaining it. So Jocelyn Andrew, thank you for being on here as well. Whoops, sorry, I kind of pressed that by mistake. Please do ignore. Benita says, yes, trust your instincts. I can look back and see where God was giving me a way out and I still pursued it. Excellent. Always trust my instincts. They've always been right. That's what Shireen says. I believe you. Eulinus, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you and welcome. Zoe Wilson says, definitely trusting our instinct is so important, even when we don't want to listen. Well, that's the problem about our instincts. In fact, that's what led me to write my first book, Predator Prince. I wrote that book to help women spot red flags in men who may be abusive. And one of the major things in that book was about instinct, because 99.9% of the women that found themselves in the situations that they found themselves in, instinct played a huge role, but we just kind of thought, oh, he's cute. Or, we get caught up between the sheets, which sometimes does not enable us to make wise decisions just because the person's good in bed. Like I said, we're grown-ups on this show. And these are some of the things that lead us into temptation, and then we pray to be delivered from evil. So there you go. Julia Roberts says, and this is not the Julia Roberts, for those of you that will be listening to the podcast, this is not the Julia Roberts, this is the Julia Roberts. Sometimes you have to trust your instincts and act on it. Absolutely, I agree. Rosalind says, sometimes people take the risk and after they regret. That is very true. Princess says, sometimes we lack confidence and we're scared to accept that all might not be well. So it could be about telling ourselves that it's okay. That is true. And it's something that we do because it's just sometimes the alternative, which is the truth, is too overwhelming or it's too frightening. And we just live in a fool's paradise, really. Aminata, thank you for being on here. And Temi Tokpe, thank you for being on here as well. Rosalind Sisse says, I think good communication is key to a successful marriage. 100%. You cannot have a successful marriage without there being communication, unless the other party's dead. But if you're both alive, living, breathing, especially if you're both under the same roof, you definitely need to have good communication. Louisa Grande, thank you for being on here, my lovely. Charlize Hatchett says, we must train our people, male and female alike, to proper courting, meaning of relationships and understanding what the goal is. Till death do us part. Older women are instructed to train younger women. And yes, let me qualify that. And when we say older women, we don't mean older women in age. We mean older women in terms of experience. So I think that's the scripts that people do misinterpret. Older women in terms of experience, not age. Okie dokie. Stephen, thank you for being on here as well. Sean says, words of affirmation and acts of service are mine. I'm exactly the same. Mine, words of affirmation first, acts of service. Funnily enough, gifts came way down. Physical touch was in there somewhere. I'm a very huggy, kissy kind of person. But if you hurt me with words, I don't want you anywhere near me. So remember that. Nana Araba says, give me some quality time and physical touch. Oh, girlfriend, I see you. Vera Che Fajor, thank you for being on here as well. Lynette Douglas says, I hear you. Understanding love languages is so important. Oh, we take so much for granted. I'm telling you, as basic as it sounds, and God bless the people that wrote that book. I can't remember their names now off the top of my head. but they gave us an absolute gem in explaining what that is, and it's really, really helpful. And I mean, I use it in my work. I obviously use it even on this show. So Charlie's also said we must train our people. Oh no, I did read that. I think that was posted twice. Evelyn says, I love that statement, Dilys. You choose the person, so do things good to maintain the relationship. Very true. Absolutely, my dear. Ali, thank you for being on here. You said sometimes we make excuses for him. Communication is the key in every relationship. Absolutely correct. Rashiadu Conte Kamara. Now, I have noticed I have a lot of Sierra Leoneans on here as well. So I just want to forgive una the respect for tell una say I very grateful for say una they watch me show. I know some people come out Ghana but be late in a salon bobo. So I want to tell all of una thank you. I tell you thank you for una time for the watch me show. So there you go. So I don't just do accents, I do understand Creole and speak it fluently. So you can congratulate me in the comment box. Just joking. But yeah, it's lovely to have new people from different countries watching as well. And I do appreciate you all. So please continue to share this show and let's just get everybody face as well. Yes, I do speak Creole. Shireen, you know, Solentity. It's a little tinky, yeah. See, they're all commenting now. When do me say, well, don't for say I did try for speak. I did talk the thing, tell me say I did try. I did talk and well. What's it tell me about? Ebo, what you say? So, Curly Bailey says, often we see things but don't hear them. If a man wants you, it is clear we need to respect ourselves and not give in to their demands. Ooh, fighting talk there. So yes, Benita says, mine too. And the rest of you are laughing at my accents, but that is wonderful. No problem. So guys, and you know something, and for those of you that are watching for the first time or watching the replay, I'm just going to explain why I do this show the way I do. We talk about a lot of heavy topics on Speak with Dilys. The topic that we spoke about 3 weeks ago about mothers who hate their sons was a heavy topic. And I did have some gentlemen reach out to me. Likewise, when I did the show Mothers Who Hate Their Daughters, I had some people reach out to me. And as I'm writing my third book on forgiveness, if you recall, I did ask that if anybody had any stories about forgiveness, that they were welcome to contact me, because I would be featuring some stories as is a theme with both my previous books and will be a theme with all my books moving forward. There would be an opportunity to share your stories. And one lady said to me, I just broke down and cried because it was at that point in your show that I had to accept that my mother does not love me. So I kind of like to make light in certain parts of the show just to bring down the mood a little bit. Because as much as we're talking about this stuff, I know that there are people that are watching this, because it happens every week where I will receive a message at least from somebody to say, oh my gosh, I'm going through something right now. In fact, even prior to doing the show, when I put what the topic was about, I had a few people reach out to me and say this is what they had been going through. So I would hope that if you have lost your sense of humour, that you will find it on the Speak with Dilys share. Thank you for that. So moving swiftly on, Yomi, thanks for being here. Michelle Aquay, thank you for being here as well. And Annie said the Cameroonian pigeon. I don't actually know any Cameroonians, but rest assured, as soon as I find any, I know the men are handsome though, because when I was watching the World Cup some years back, they were, well, anyway, moving very swiftly on. They were good looking. So, moving on, who do you go to for advice? Now, there are 3 or 4 groups of people. Your friends, your family, spiritual leaders. I would say friends, family, spiritual leaders, generally speaking. And what are the pros and cons of speaking to friends? I don't think that we as human beings are particularly good at choosing friends. I don't think we are. I think we choose friends without being intentional. And we categorize friendship based more on time than quality. So therefore, when we run to people just because we've known them for a period of time, without looking at the quality of person and friendship that they're giving us, we are walking into the lion's den. So when you go back to that statement of not using, don't use your family business to go get a loan, that's exactly what you're doing with these kind of people. Because the moment you fall out, in fact, sometimes they don't even wait for you to fall out, your whole business is where it doesn't need to be. Now, does that mean you don't speak to a friend? No, I'm a friend to many people. But the key thing is looking at the type of friendship that you have. And also looking at the frequency of how often they come to you to tell you their personal business. Because one of the dead giveaways of a friend that is not your friend is when they keep their business very close to their chest, always asking you about your business, never telling you anything about theirs. It baffles me how many people fall into that trap without advising themselves that that's not your friend. So that's not the person that you go and confide in. Don't do it. But I see this happening all the time. All the time. You've got this so-called friend that you don't know a damn thing about her. And you find that when you're on the phone speaking to him or you're speaking to her, 99.9% of the conversation is about you. You've actually been on the phone for a blasted hour and you have told them everything. And they're there egging you on and you are just there chatting your business. And that's who Auntie Mabel was talking about. That kind of friend. Do you understand? So these are just little things that we can look out for that shows us that this person is not in my camp. This person is not for me. Or a friend that can't celebrate you. I always say that, look, you will know who your real friends are when you get married, when you have a child, when you land the job or the career of your dreams. Trust me. Or when you buy your dream house, that's when you know who your friends are. I've seen it all the time. Or another one that is a killer one. Or a friend that is only there when you're going through a crisis. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. They are just there to make sure or to hope that this time that you've fallen, that you're finally not going to get up. That's what they're there for. So every time they show up and you think that this is your friend, oh, Susie, guess what? He's left me again. And you're there crying and pouring your guts out. They're there thinking, yes, bitch. At last, who does she think she is? Does she think that she deserves to be happy? What? Does she think she's special than me? I'm telling you. But we sit there and say, well, I've known Susie since we were in kindergarten. So, listen, all it means is that you have had a monitoring spirit for a long time. That's not your friend. All it means is that you have had a monitoring spirit in your life for a long time. That's all. And you've got to be a big girl, put on your big girl knickers, or be a big man and decide that I can stand on my own 2 feet and ask yourself, why and how did I get into this relationship with this person who has never meant me well? We've all been through it, but I'm just saying that these are the little pointers that you can use to identify who your Judas is, who is putting knives in your back. So when you have your relationship and you go to that person just because you've known them for years, let me tell you something. You see, the words that come out of our mouths, they are spirit, they are life, they are death. And that's why I say that there's some things, it's not got anything to do with your belief system, it's just a fact. So for example, you have a child and you tell your child every day how stupid, how useless and worthless they are. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to grow up thinking that they're stupid and worthless. And when the light bulb does finally go on, if they don't get the right kind of help, they will spend every waking moment proving that they are not stupid and worthless. They will never get away from those words. So words, they are spirit and they are life. They are powerful. So you have to watch the people that you allow to speak into your marriage and your relationship. Let me tell you something. There was somebody that anytime I confided in them about anything that was going wrong in my relationship, no word of a lie, the person would start to annoy me, i.e., in fact, it was my late husband. And anytime I confided in this person, I would always feel 10 times worse than before I opened my mouth. I would just feel terrible, really awful. Thankfully, the light went on in my head. I thought, Dilys, just watch how the dynamics work whenever you speak to this person about your relationship. And I stopped. Fast forward however many years, their own relationship is trash. With a capital Ash. Trash. Trust me. Now, when people don't mean you well, when it comes to relationships, and their relationships are suffering, very rarely are they going to speak anything positive into your home. So it's really crucial that you look at people and you believe what you see. These things are very simple. That you can't, people can't hide forever. We choose not to see. Like when they say love is blind, I said no. Love is never blind. It just chooses not to see. We make a choice to ignore. We make a choice to walk around like that. It's not because we didn't see. We saw. And we made a decision that our eyes were just for decoration and not for anything. So when we look to go and speak to friends, these are some of the pros and cons. If you've noticed, I haven't said don't go and speak to a friend. But you have to make the right decision of which friend you are going to tell your business to. Now, sometimes we have to look at ourselves. What kind of a friend are you? Because sometimes we also get what we deserve. Sometimes we are not good people. Sometimes we are not good friends. And we basically are being paid back for the things that we have done because we haven't kept that confidence. And we've been jealous and we've been bad mind towards other people. And it's just come full circle. And this is why it's important that we are mindful of what we do in this life, because it will come back. It will come back for you. In terms of family, okay, so one of the cons of friends is that at least they're not family. So you can choose them. And they would tend to have less of an influence in terms of impact of their opinion. I'm linking this into family. In your marriage or in your relationship, generally speaking, I would say try and stay away from family. And unless, of course, you've got a sister like me that can be very objective. Because a lot of people, like I said in the beginning, I don't know whether it was on this live show or my personal page just before I came on here, many people lack the maturity to be able to be objective when they are passionate about something or somebody. So let's say, for example, I've always been very objective. I don't really care how close I am to somebody. I will always tell you the truth. I feel the closer I am to somebody or the more I love someone, I must be the person that tells them the truth. I feel that your enemy shouldn't be the one to tell you the truth if I claim to be your friend. So, for example, if your armpit pinks, then I should tell you that, oh, sis, you've got a bit of an odor problem. This is what you can do to sort it out. I don't see why I should keep quiet and then wait for your enemy while you're having an argument and say, yeah, well, you dirty cow, you've got the worst stinking armpit on the planet. And then you come to me as your friend saying, is that true? Do I really smell? Well, you do smell kind of funky. Personally, I don't think that's being a good friend. If there is something that you are lacking, as your friend, I should be able to point that out to you in a loving way, not in a way that will make you feel bad about yourself. But these are all things, if I did do it or if a person did do it, you can see that this is not your friend. Okay, so back to family. Objectivity is crucial. And family cannot always be objective. So when the son goes to tell his mother that, oh, my wife, blah, 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 blah. Kofi, I always told you that I wasn't very, very certain about Ajwa. The way she behaved when you first introduced her to me, in fact, I was very worried. But you said you loved her, so I just supported it. But now, can you see the problem you have brought to this house? See it there? Got to be careful. So now, when Ajwa gives you the sweet tin, and you and Ajwa sort out your problem, and you go back and you tell your mother that, oh, mom, Adwa and I have sorted things out. I went home and, me and Adwa spoke, and mum is still waiting for the next time to put her 2 pennies worth in. Because sometimes mum is jealous of Adwa because how you treat Adwa, your father didn't treat her that way. So we need to be mindful of who we speak to in the family and the level of information that we give them about what's going on. Because when you resolve it, family don't forget. Family are like elephants, they don't forget. So unless you know that you are coming out of that relationship, and make sure you're coming out and you ain't got no kids. Because if you've got kids with Adwa, you still better make sure how you come out in a way that they respect your wife. So all these things really are about people management. Manage people, manage your business, manage yourself. Okay? Right. I'm going to read some more comments very, very quickly because time goes so quick. Time goes so quickly. Right. Let's go back to... Shireen says, I don't have a lot of friends, never have, and I'm okay with that as I love my own company, sound like me. But the first 1 or 2 that I do have in my life are my real friends. Many people don't know the difference between friends and acquaintances. Absolutely spot on. Klingsman said, very right, Dilly. My name is actually Dilys. Dilly, only my older brother gets to call me that, or my family. But no, I get you. You're absolutely right. Love the shift in accents, Mariama says. I'm just crazy, don't worry about that. Shirley Ann says, you are absolutely right about monitoring spirits. Yeah, don't say that, oh, but I've known them for years. Come on. Doesn't make any difference. Klinsman says, good friends will always be beside you by hook or by crook in any situation. That is true. Celebrating downfall at your back, consoling you in your face, as Duchess Ife, 100%. They are the worst and most dangerous kind of people to have around you. Those people that will laugh, that will cry with you supposedly and behind your back. Be careful of those people. Please do not allow the length of time you have known somebody to dictate the quality of your friendship. Length of time just means time. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Kojo Fori, hi Kaz, how are you doing? Abigail Adri says, God bless you too. And Nana Araba says, that's the word intentional. Hawa Karoma, thank you for being on here. I'm going to quickly scroll down and see what else you have for me. Duchess said, family don't forget even after you've made up, so be wary of what is shared about your relationship. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. Henry Nana says, I have no friends. I only share my experiences with people I have never met. I feel better doing that a lot. I mean, I would assume that's because people have probably let you down. But one thing I will say is that there is a lot to learn in friendship. And I'm not saying this as a dig. When someone says, I don't have any friends, I think you're missing out on a lot. Why do I say this? Learning to be a good friend and being able to maintain good friendships teaches you a lot. It teaches you about compassion. It teaches you about loyalty. It teaches you kindness. It teaches you to be selfless. It teaches you a lot. Being a good friend is not to be knocked. Finding a good friend can be challenging. But when you have a good friend, it is life. Being able to pick up that phone and say, oh, so-and-so, I have the most amazing friends. Really. I'm also very wary of women that say, oh, I don't have women friends. Oh, my dear, you are the, did we do mathematics here? You are the common denominator. You. If of all the women on the planet, you're saying you don't keep female friends because women are like, and you're a woman. I'm gonna talk true now. You are the problem. You are the problem. Because I have fantastic friends. Am I not a woman? I be wife material. I get all. I have to, listen, today, I was speaking to a friend on the phone and I was saying, I was trying to look for something to wear for my show next week, the launch, 2 weeks rather. And I saw these shoes that I really liked. I go to church today. When I was about to leave, what did this friend put in my hand? In fact, she's more like a sister to me. What did she put in my hand? Not the shoes I was looking at online, just asking her opinion. Did you like it? That's a friend. That's a friend. They are the kind of beautiful people I have around me. When I lost my husband, one of them is watching now. I did not know that she was sending For 3 months after my husband died, I did not cook a single meal in this house. There was food being delivered to my home. The lady is watching now. I will not embarrass her by calling her name. But God bless you all the days of your life, you and your children and your children's children, for that kindness that you showed me in my hour of need. I didn't know, because someone let slip, that she had been paying somebody, a lady that makes food, to deliver the food to my house. So the lady that cooks would call me and say, Dilys, what are you guys going to eat? Oh, my appetite was a bit whatever. But the kids, they want fish, or they want some chicken, or want some jollof. For about 3 months. Let me tell you something. If you can find a good friend, you found life. I'm telling you. And they're the kind of people that when they're speaking into your life, you're blessed. So learn to be a good friend. Don't be afraid to have people around you. The only reason why you wouldn't speak to somebody close is because somebody has hurt you and they've let you down. Learn from it. Don't deprive yourself. They say that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Be a friend to somebody. Take your time, study people, and you will not be disappointed. Okay, so that's about family. Being careful who you speak to within the family. The fact that family do not forget, and it may not always be the best. Unless, of course, you can find a family member that is objective and is mature and is balanced in their view and not just take sides because you are their relative. Spiritual leaders. I think the first thing to mention is some people just have the title. They don't know jack diddly squat. Okay? They just have the title of spiritual leaders. They couldn't lead themselves in doing the conga. Yeah? Do not be fooled just by somebody's title. You need to look at that person and their lifestyle, how they conduct their own business before you run to them. Do not just follow spiritual leader, pastor, blah, de blah. No, because you will lead yourself into a ditch. And there are many people who have gone to so-called pastors and spiritual leaders, and they actually have accelerated the demise of a marriage. So I'm a minister, so I'm not speaking against pastors. So for example, where I fellowship, the person who I sit under is Apostle Isaac Olujide of New Glory Ministry. If I have a problem, I will go to Apostle, and I will know that Apostle will not just speak into my life. He will be practical. So if I went to Apostle and I said, Apostle, my husband is beating me, be rest assured, you're getting handled. He's not going to sit there and say, well, God hates divorce. Endure, my daughter, just endure. God is looking at you to be long-suffering. It's a fruit of the Spirit. Just endure. He won't tell you that kind of foolishness. He's not going there. There's a popular Nigerian gospel artist. She's dead. She's died because her husband was beating the living daylights out of her, and she was told to endure by some other. And I think there's another very silly so-called, Ghanaians like stupidness, so this Ghanaian so-called counselor, she talks the living rubbish. Absolutely, I can't even remember her name. I don't even want to mention her name. She talks absolute nonsense. She's another one that tells people, oh, just endure. When your husband is beating you, come on. So when you're going for advice about your relationships, look at who's advising you. And if that advice does not sit well with you, you don't have to take it. Listen, there is a difference between advice and an instruction. An instruction says, go and do X, Y, Z. And even then, because you are not a puppet on a string, you have, or you should have, the ability to take that or leave it. Likewise, with advice, it not be by force. If you don't like the advice that you're being given, don't take it. That's why they say take advice or give advice. You can take it or you can leave it. So that's what you need to do. So don't look at the title that somebody holds and on that basis, make it by force that you must take that advice. So there you go. If you do have a spiritual leader that is practical in their advice and is respectful of the fact that you ultimately have the choice to take or leave whatever they're saying to you, then you're in a good place, like how I'm in a good place. Okay. The other thing, before I whiz through, because I've gone over, so the people that you're going to look to, or the people that want to speak into your life, What do their lives and relationships look like? Listen, jealousy is not that difficult to spot, you know. Jealousy is not that difficult to spot. Check people when you're sharing good advice, or not good advice, sorry, good news. Just check their body language. Oh gosh. I could tell you some stories, but we don't have time. You know, just look at them. Look at their lives. What do their lives look like? That is also an indicator of whether they are going to be celebrating you or not. Check their lives. You know, going back, how are they when you give good, you know, share good news? Just pay attention, you know, pay attention a little bit. I think sometimes we're just a little bit too hasty because of titles. Oh, this one is my sister, so she'll be happy for me. This one is my friend. I've known them for 30 years. They'll be happy for me. Ah, this one is my sister. It doesn't mean anything. All it means that you know them. That's all. It doesn't mean nothing. We could be a sister, could be a brother. Don't mean nothing. Cain and Abel, yeah? Brothers. Doesn't mean anything. Does not mean a thing. Joseph and his amazing Technicolor dream coat, yeah? They were ready to fling him in at the pit, okay? And just kill him off. Let me tell you something. Titles don't mean anything. Titles don't mean anything. Don't allow titles to make you slack in your assessment of the heart of the people you have around you. Please. Take it from Auntie Dilys, okay? Next thing, very quickly. Can single people give good advice? Yes. It is only the insecure married people that seem to think that they should only move with married people. Half you married people are bloody miserable anyway. Those ones in that group of, oh, well, yeah, she's single. Look, she's going to look, she wants my husband. Even you don't want your husband. Why would I want him? So no, it doesn't necessarily mean because somebody's single that they can't give good advice. I was single for a long time. A lot of my friends got married before I did. And one of them, they're still married today. I actually got them together because I wanted to get married at that time. And hers happened before me. I was very happy for her because the way my brain works is that you sow seeds. When you're happy for people, then you expedite your own blessings, you know, into manifestation. So can single people give good advice? Yes, they can. Because everybody has their place. So it just depends on what level of advice you are looking for. That's all. But you don't write people off because of status. Right now, you could class me, you know, I've been widowed now. So does that mean I'm no longer qualified to give advice or have a view on marriage? Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But you see, those are the kind of married people that literally have got no life, no identity, and they've wrapped up their identity under the title marriage. And those people, their marriages are always whack. They're not even proper marriages. They're miserable as hell. And the thing is, and I think I've mentioned this before, how do you feel after you have shared your issue with a person? If when you speak to somebody, you come away feeling worse than when you opened your mouth, not because of anything other than the vibe you got from them or the way they make you feel. And let me tell you something. Some of these people, they're like snakes. They are very, very subtle in how they chip away at you. So, for example, this is how cunning some people can be. So you come to me and you say, Dilys, you know, I've not been happy with Peter for a little while. Like there's some things going on I'm not too sure about. I still love Peter and I know Peter loves me. But we're really struggling in our communication. And let's say Peter was out of work for some time and financially you bore the brunt of the financial whatever. I'm just thinking of this example as we go along. And Dilys, being the bad mind friend, pretending to be the nice friend, it's like, oh, but Anna, you know what? I know Peter loves you. And Peter is a good guy. You know, he's a good guy. And I know you love Peter as well. But, you know, I know how you went through so much stuff when he wasn't working. And I always say this, that when a man really loves you, he's not going to watch you to suffer for that long. And I know that Peter had it in him to do a lot better than he did. But he still left you. So I know that you love him. But just don't let him take advantage of you, darling. You know that you're worth more than that. Okay? And yeah, I'm just going to say, I don't really want to say anymore, but I'm just worried about you. And I just really want you to be okay. You see, that kind of talk there is dangerous. And when I had my situation, that's what this person used to do to me. And I used to feel 10 times worse after speaking to them because of how they couched it. I mean, this is years ago. I'm a big girl now. You can't try that with me. But it was done in a way where they pretended that they were so concerned about my welfare. It was a lie. Do you understand? So when you have that sowing those kind of seeds, it's like just little drip, drip, drip. Those people are dangerous. The ones that will play that psychological game with you. Very, very dangerous people. So let's go through the conclusion out real quick, because I am over my time. It's your job to protect your mate. It is your job. It is your responsibility. It is your job. It is your responsibility to protect your mate. Watch the image you put out about them, because you're the one that has put out that image. They don't have the power to go and erase it or rectify it because they weren't there when you were talking about them. It's really not fair. So if you know you love and respect that person, you've got to protect them. That is only your job. Be careful of the level of detail that you divulge. Be careful. It goes back to, do not use your family business as collateral. Be careful of the level of detail that you divulge, especially when it's about their past and their personal business. I remember a so-called friend of mine. She ain't a friend of mine no more. Her mouth always used to trouble her, and I always used to tell her that you chat people's business too much. And she was going out with a guy, and she basically came and told me all sorts of stuff. The guy's on drugs, and I said, stop. This is a guy that you claim that you love and you want to marry. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. If I was a bad person, I could literally put his whole business out there. Don't do that. Be careful of the level of detail that you divulge about the person that you claim that you love. It's not fair. If you intend to stay with your partner, I think I've said this before, family members are not the best people to confide in. Check you're not allowing your jealousy, insecurity, or envy ruin your relationship. Sometimes the fault is from you. So when you are going to ask for advice, you are not coming from a clean place. And when you have that little vengeful spirit going on there, and you're going outside to seek advice, and you're coming from that place, you can't get good advice because you're not coming from a good place. So be careful. Allow, be honest with where you're coming from, and make sure that you're not allowing your jealousy or insecurity to be that thing that is fueling that conversation. Okay. Also, allow yourself to grow into the space that you want to be in. You want a great relationship? Allow yourself. Listen, good relationships did not happen overnight. Oh, one day I have a story to tell. It doesn't. It requires a lot of work, because we come with our different levels of understanding of what relationships even are. We come with our different baggages. I'm talking about mothers hating their sons and mothers hating, their daughters. When you're in a relationship with those people, do you know what it's like? What they're projecting actually has nothing to do with you. Now you've got to work through all of that stuff before you can actually break even. So it's like you start from a loss, you break even, and then you start to make a profit. So loss, even, profit. That's how a relationship is. The loss part is when you are dealing with yourself. You're breaking even when you have found yourself. You start to make a profit when you start to understand each other. So there is a process. Don't knock the process. Maintain a united front. Have your partner's back. Maintain a united front. It is very difficult to penetrate a brick wall. And you know what? People will respect your partner to the degree that you respect them. So guys, I have to go. 10th episode of Speak with Dilys Series 4. We only have 3 more to go. Next week will be the 50th episode of Speak with Dilys, and then the following week we have the launch. Guys, how many of you are coming to the launch? I know some of you bought your tickets. How many of you are coming to the Speak with Dilys live show? I want to see you there. Those of you that are coming that I haven't met in person before, I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys. So do buy your tickets. Now, what I will do is when I post the replay, I will put the ticket on there, or you can go to www.dilyssilla.com. Who says that they're coming? Oh gosh, there's so many comments here, guys. Please forgive me. Hi, Mariama. Thank you, Auntie Jenny. Marnie Frank says, thank you. Lovely, great session as usual. Thank you so much. You stay blessed as well. Kadijatu. Abigail, thank you so much. Shauna Wright. Josie, thank you so much. United Front is key. Absolutely is. Vicky, thank you for those wonderful kisses. And Deborah and Kajatu as well. Ivy, thank you for being on here. Princess says, very dangerous people, in-laws, frenemies, and all. My story, girlfriend. Y'all know my story. Just go and read Not This Widow. Shirley Ann says, sometimes they will use information you have shared with them against you. Absolutely. So guys, I'm glad you liked today's session. It's always a pleasure speaking to you guys. How many of you are coming to the Speak with Dilys show on the 22nd of April? I want to see you there in your numbers. Support your girl. It will be great conversation. We will actually be having a show like this on the night as well. So it is going to be fun. Shauna said, you definitely did not disappoint. Thank you so much for another amazing session. And neither did you guys. So keep your comments coming. Lovely to have you. Thank you all for sharing the broadcast, and love you all. And I shall see you next week, and get your tickets. So link to buy the tickets, please. I'm going to post it. Anita Agri, y'all late today. We're just about to pop off. That you can get the tickets off Eventbrite or from dilysilla.com. So even if you go on my personal page and you click on the link, you can get it. But I will post it so that you can see. There is a Speak with Dilys group. You can also go and get the details from there as well. So thank you so much, guys. I think I've earned a drink today. So I'm going to go and have one. Have a wonderful week. God bless you all. And I shall see you on Sunday. Ciao, ciao.